rat hanging under the brat. Uh-oh. He had it on the lift, had a light under there, working on the exhaust. Forgot about it. Still works. Still works, I just have to put it together. We got issues. Well, I'm gonna take this thing back to the house. I don't think it'll make it back up the hill. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Whalen Wire's Old Iron. You know, my cousin called me today, and he helped me to see some things differently than how I was seeing it. There's some people wanted to make some donations to me because of that Dojelac burning up. And some people did make some donations, and to those folks, thank you so much. But it's really hard for me to accept a donation. It's like I just can't take a handout. That just kills my soul. It's just the way I was raised. Nobody I can't get it on my own. But you know, he explained to me something, and I wasn't seeing it that way. He helped me to see something a little differently, and thank you, Cousin Rich, for that. You know, he said, Ken, I'd love to come over there and just drop off a couple of carburetors for you for that Dojelac, but I don't know what you want, you know. I don't know what your preference is and what size and all that. And he said there's a lot of people probably that way, that they would just want to help, you know, and they don't know what I need or what I want, but they want to help. And I need to be a little more gracious. Oh, that pride. Boy, that pride's hard to swallow, ain't it? But I need to be more gracious and just say thank you. It just means the world to me that people are offering to do that. My thing is, I just don't want to take money from somebody that might need it more than I do, you know. Oh, it's just on account of my raising, you know. But anyway, yeah, he helped me to see that, and I kind of. It's beginning to soak in, our peak. I know I'm bullheaded, hard-headed to do things my way, you know, but it's starting to soak in just a little bit that, you know, I love to help people. I just love to help people, and it's not right for me to deny other people of that, you know, the gift of giving, I guess. But I'm not asking for anything. I'm just trying to graciously say thank you for the people that helped me out. That's all. That's all I'm going to say about that. Oh, that stinking rockabilly. Man, I've been fighting that thing. It just wouldn't run. It hadn't run since May. I've been fighting it since May. Let's take a look. Hey, welcome to Rat Rod. My name's Whalen Wire, and don't ever do what we do here on this channel. Okay, something I haven't talked to y'all about is the rockabilly. Now I need to bring you up to speed. I've been having issues with it since the fire happened. This is what I started working on after I drug the Dojelac out of here, and I brought this in and gave it a tune-up and points and plugs and rotor and cap and condenser. And when my friend Webb was coming over here, I said, I'll meet you down on the highway so he could find my place. And he said, you gonna bring the rockabilly? And I go, sure. And I went out and fired it up, and I headed down the canyon, and all of a sudden it started all loading up and choking out and wouldn't run, wouldn't rev up. It kind of idled a little bit, but it wouldn't rev up. Well, I've had that happen many times in the last 13 years. And I always just take a little wrench or a little rock and tap on the side of the carburetor, and it straightens out, and it's good for another year or two. Well, this time it didn't straighten out, and I have done everything to straighten it out. And I have checked the fuel from the tank all the way to the carb and made sure my lines are clean and blown the lines out, and checked fuel at every connection, and I have fuel coming out of the tank. I did a pour 15 kit on this tank when I built this thing, and it's white inside, and you can see any trash, and it's flowing free out of the little petcock valve coming out of the bottom, and flowing free all the way. But anyway, fought it. And finally I switched carburetors around and tried different carburetors, and I finally bit the bullet and bought a new one. Spent $200 on that thing. Just throwing money at it, trying to fix it. So did the same thing. And one day, just for giggles, I put fuel pump and gas can here and ran it to that new carburetor, and it started up, and boy, it ran like a scalded hound. And I go, well, I found it. It's that old fuel pump. Something, my old diaphragm's bad, you know. It's only 91 years old. Things just don't hold up, you know. So I bypassed it and all that, and installed a fuel pump back there and started up. Next time it still wouldn't run. So I've got it back in a can of gas now, and it still won't run. So I've just kind of ruled out fuel as an issue. Yeah, I've checked it. I know it's getting gas. I've checked it and ran the pump, and you know, it's fine. And plus, it ran really good there at one point with that carburetor. Of course, it ran good with the old carburetor too when it's running good. I took it for a test drive, actually. It ran pretty good part of the time, and then started choking out again and wouldn't hardly rev up. And I was coming up the canyon down there from the very bottom. It's steep as a cow's face, this canyon coming up to my house. And I started at a dead stop at the bottom, and it all of a sudden it had a running fit, was running good. And man, I shifted all the way up into third gear coming up this canyon. It has never done that before. So when it's running really good. But it ain't running now. And here's where I'm at. I discovered this. If you can see that. Get that slot so you can see. There's a little wiggle in that gear. Now, I don't really think that's the issue, but it ain't good, you know. And that pin, apparently some hard stuff, boy, because I have ground it down to make sure I got rid of it. It's braided on both ends, and I wanted to make sure I got rid of that where it was braided down. And so I kind of ground it down a little bit, tried to drill it. I got nothing that'll touch this thing. I don't have a drill bit that'll touch this gear. It's so hard, I can't drill it. I was just going to drill a hole over here on the side, put a little tack weld in there, but I can't drill it. So I tried to drive that pin out, and it ain't going nowhere. It's hard stuff, and this is really hard. And I'm afraid I'll break this gear, and I don't want to do that because it's made out of unobtainium. So where I'm at now is I'm almost afraid to do it, but I might put some heat on that and see if I can get that pin to move. That pin should be the softest part of the equation here, because you should be able to replace the pin. The pin should be made to wear, not the shaft or the gear. I know this is hard. Boy, this is hardened steel, and I assume this is too. So the pin should be the weakest link, but So far, it's not very weak. Anyway, what I've done in the meantime, it had a paper gasket around there behind that points. And it was wore out. You know, like I said, after 91 years. Things just don't hold up. But I was checking the points for fire one day and just popping them open there with my finger. And boy, I had a blue spark right there at the points. Good fire, and good fire to the plug. But I thought I saw a little spark down in here under that screw. So I have insulated that. I put some silicone around there, and I've got a little piece of plastic on the outside and behind the points there, so they can't ground out. And I've just set the gap. I can get you guys clamped down here somewhere where you can see. But anyway, yeah, I got the points set, and boy, I mean to tell you, they are right on 15 thousandths. I might close them just a little bit, but they're really close. Yeah, that's a little bit wide. I'll close them just a hair, but anyway, I don't really think this, I think this has been this way for a long time. I think it run fine because it's got pressure pulling on it, you know, one direction. So then wherever you set it, I think it kind of works. This thing's so simple. It's hard to make it not work, but I've somehow been able to make it not work for 3 months. Yeah, anyway, it's where I'm at now. Is I've got this all insulated really good around that screw, so it's not grounding out on the housing anywhere. And I'm getting ready to put it back in and stab it. I got it on UC on the flywheel. There's a little window on the flywheel. And when you get the mark just right, it says UC. My friend Darren helped me discover this. And I went and looked it up, and I found a diagram on that, and UC, I never heard that. I always heard TDC, top dead center. And them old 327s and 283s used to run at 4 degrees before TDC. Well, this says 12 degrees. And I had a timing light on it and everything, but I looked it up, and UC means upper center. And then, so when that that journal's at the lowest point, that's lower center, LC, and then at the top, it's upper center, UC. So it's set right on the money. It's moved just a little hair. I'll have to put that right. But anyway, yeah, I've kind of thinking it's got to be ignition rather than fuel. I've just exhausted everything on the fuel, but new points, and I got rid of the barbed wire, plug wires, and all that, you know, and a new ballast resistor. I've done everything. I ran a compression test on it, and they're all pretty good. They're not high, but they're all within perimeters, you know. So, and this thing's always been so simple and so easy to make it run. I thought, boy, Waylon, if you can't make this thing run, you better just hang it up. And that's probably true, because it's so simple. But I haven't been able to figure it out. And friend Warren was up here one night about 5 hours. We fought with it, rebuilt the carburetor 3 or 4 times, all kinds of stuff, cleaned the plugs, just everything that, you know, a normal body would think of. And everybody I talked to said, yeah, you've done everything I'd know to do. And the young guys around town don't know nothing about this. One guy, there's a pretty good mechanic down here in the canyon that people like to go to. They say that he's pretty good. Well, one day he got a rig that had a carburetor on it, and he had to go see my buddy Darren because he don't know how to work on a carburetor. So, you know, us old guys that's left, we're the only ones that know about this stuff. So, you know, points and carburetors and things like that. Anyway, I'm going to, I don't know, I may put some heat on there. Man, I'm afraid of breaking this gear. It's just never find one. But I may put some heat on that pin. And if I can drive that pin out there and put a new one in, I'd like to get rid of that wiggle. There's quite a bit, as you can see. But I don't think that's what's keeping it from running. I have an idea it's been like that for the last 50 years, you know, so who knows. But yeah, they're just not out there. You can't find them. I've been all over the interwebs, and yeah, they make them for, you can find them for the old 216, but this is a different animal. This thing's only, that cap's only 2.5 inches in diameter. I've got 3 different caps here. I've changed them all in case it was a crack, you know, rotor, condenser, changed all that stuff, points, done it all. But the last thing I did to it before it quit running was put all that stuff in the distributor, new points and everything. So I'm probably the culprit. I'm probably the cause of this whole thing, because it was running fine before then. Well, it was running pretty good. I just decided to put new points in it, cap and stuff, just, you know, general maintenance. But I probably should have left it alone. All right, I'm gonna get back on this. Once again, got swapped out the ballast resistor, swapped out the coil just for giggles. Although we'd already tested that one. It's good, but I thought, well, maybe it's, you know, breaking down when you rev it up, but it don't rev up far enough to break down. It'll start, but it won't run. It's hard to do with one hand. That's all it'll do. I got good spark at the points, and I got good spark at the plugs, but yeah, that's all it'll do. It just tries to idle. You can feather the throttle and get it to idle a little bit, but it won't rev up. It's cutting out so bad. But I think I've got it narrowed down to electrical, at least. Maybe that play in that distributor is enough. I don't know. To have fire jumping around in there? What? I don't know. I mean, have it, by jumping around, I mean missing the mark, you know. But I've changed this just got mechanical advance on it, and no matter where you put it, it won't rev up. I ruled out the fuel pump. Yeah, I think I got it narrowed down to electrical. Thought I'd see a little spark in there, so I reset the points, reinstalled everything, took them all out, cleaned everything. I put gaskets in and made sure it's not grounded anywhere on the housing. And when I went to start it started to rev up. It acted like it was going to run, and then all of a sudden it just started cutting out again. I'm at a loss. I've been doing this stuff a long time, messing with these old things. I cut my teeth on a 216, which came out in 1937. So, yeah, up until, what, 53, 4, somewhere when the 235s came out. Had a pressurized oil system. These old things just got splashers, dippers on the bottom of the rod. Bottom of the rods, it just slings oil around in there. But that has nothing to do with the problem at hand. It's just that I've always been able to make these old things run. This thing didn't run when I got it, and I started tinkering with it. If it gets fire and fuel and compression, and if it all gets there at the same time, something has to happen, you know. It has to, and just the laws of physics. But so I'm getting fuel and compression there at the right time, but the spark is apparently lacking. The points are firing good, man. They just fire a good blue spark, hot spark, and so does the plugs. They fire a good hot spark. So it has to be, the timing has to be jumping around, and it may be that loose gear on there. I did find a couple of distributors on eBay. Some of them they advertise this fit 29 through 34, but they're not. They're for 216. You can tell they're bigger and the end of the shaft's different. This has got a little fork on the end of the shaft that goes down over the oil pump, and on the 216 it goes into the fork on the oil pump. So they're different shaft and probably different length. I know they're bigger around because the 216 they got the condenser on the inside, the cap. And this thing's only 2.5 inches in diameter. There's not room for the condenser inside. But I cleaned the ground real good, made sure that's all grounded real good. I've done everything, I tell you. Well, I mean, apparently there's one thing I haven't done yet, but I don't know what it is. If I knew what it was, I'd do it. Well, while I do not believe that loose gear on there is the issue, I'm still going to repair it. Yeah, I put some heat on that, and now that pin's coming out. It's going to drive out okay, and I think I've got some roll pins around here somewhere. Now, I don't know if the wear is in the pin or the shaft, but I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? If it's in the shaft, I'm not sure what I'll do. It should be the pin. The pin should be the softer of the metals, right? I don't know. I'm just winging it, dude, like a little baby bird, dude. Yeah, it looks pretty wore out. Well, we'll put a pin in there and see if that'll take it out. I might slide that down and take a look at that shaft. Well, that took care of that. Just cut those off and stab this thing. I don't think that's the issue. I don't think it's going to run any better because of that, but that needed to be fixed. Yeah, that was a good repair. That turned out good. Better than I thought. Better than I deserve, probably. Well, I left a little exposed on each end of that roll pin, and I'm going to peen that down, but I don't think that would ever come out of there, but it'd just be my luck, you know. Well, that takes the wiggle out of it. Well, I might be onto something. I was checking my fire on my points. I had the switch on and it was sparking good fire just like it always does. And then it quit just like it's doing when it's running. It's not sparking all the time. Man, I wish I could get a shop light that would work more than 10 minutes around here. I don't know if you can still see, my light just went off here. Yeah, let me get a light. Okay. While I was testing my points for fire, I could see down in here somewhere a little bit of fire jumping, and I'm not sure what's going on because that's a piece of plastic in there. It had paper in there originally, a little really thin cardboard, I guess you'd call it. I don't know. It's either thin cardboard or thick paper. Thick paper, I guess, is what it was. Pardon my hillbilly terminology here. Yeah, I'm gonna pull it out and redo all that because I wasn't having this trouble before I put that in there. But every time I check the points, they're firing hot and blue. Boy, looks like a good spark. But something's happening. Something's happening when I ain't looking. That's what's going on. It's sneaking around behind my back and doing stuff. All right, I'm gonna yank that out of there again. Well, I guess I'm just going to start from scratch and rebuild this distributor again. Yeah, it was sparking down here on the bottom of those points, I guess. Maybe I need to put a little rubber O-ring or something underneath there. I'm not sure what's going on, but that's kind of a thick piece there. Maybe that's hindering something. I don't know. I'm gonna take those points out and just do it over, I guess. I'll lick my calf over. That's the old point. I put them back in just for giggles. You know, I just don't know what would possibly be wrong with that little piece of plastic in there. But it's something's not happy. Somebody ain't happy in there. I put a lot of silicone around that so I'm not grounding out in the housing. I need to make me a little round rubber plug to go in there that'll center that screw. But I can do that. I can take a little piece of vacuum hose and make me a little rubber plug. Yeah, we have the technology. Yeah, I'll shave that down a little bit, slice a little bit off, make me a little grommet to go in there. That's what I'm gonna do. I don't know if that's what you do, but that's what I'm gonna do. You know, I like doing things like they might have done it back in 1940, you know, when this thing got wore out and they had to overhaul it. They might have done something like this. My dad certainly would have done something like this, and I like doing things like my daddy would have done it. It just brings me joy. All right, I gotta shave her down a little bit more. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Well, you can see that that's looking pretty good. I'll slice that little piece off, and the screw fits in there pretty well. Yeah, I don't see why that won't work, but I didn't see why it wouldn't work before, and it didn't. It almost don't have enough to grab onto if I cut it the right length, so I'll have to cut it a little bit long and then shave it down. Maybe. Oh, look at that. Oh, would you look at that? Just don't see anything wrong with that. Could clean this thing up a little while I got it out. I think that'll fire. All right, stab it again, see what happens. All right, I got that turkey re-stabbed and everything bolted down and the spark advance cable hooked up. This doesn't have a vacuum advance. Well, now I've got to put back together everything I tore up. Electric fuel pump back there, ain't no need for that. There's nothing wrong with that 91-year-old fuel pump. I was starting to think things just don't hold up, but that's 91 years old. It's still going strong. So I'm gonna get rid of that electric fuel pump, take everything off that I put on, hook everything up back like it was. This carburetor looks way out of place. Paid $200 for a carburetor that I didn't need. I'll probably put the old one back on there just because it looks better. Maybe I can sell this one. I don't know. Maybe not. How many people's in the market for a 1-barrel? Oh boy. Alright, I'm going to get busy and undo all the damage that I did over the past 2 or 3 months. Man, I've been working on this thing not steady. I had to work on that brat quite a bit. Head gaskets. We put head gaskets. Y'all missed out on that. I wasn't making videos then, I don't think. But anyway, yeah, let's put it back together and see what happens. All right, let's see if this junk will run. Boy, you see that thing shooting gas out of here? I've heard people catching stuff on fire, kind of stuff like that. Next, any of you newcomers here, I tell you, this is a good old boy right here. I've had this old boy since 1986. Something about an old square body in it. I need to run it in town and give it a bath probably before I start working on it. I don't know. I'm gonna swap out that steering column, I think. So stay tuned. Shout out to my buddy Neil down in Independence, Missouri. My fellow Missouri mule sent me these cutoff switches, emergency cutoff switches. And that's exactly what I had in the Dojlac. Neil, I appreciate you, brother. These only work if you got enough sense to turn them off. That's the thing about these. But that was very kind of you to send these. And I will use them. You know I'll use them on something. And so thank you. That's all. That is all. Okay, fellers and fellerettes, that's going to do it for this time. Man, it just makes my day when y'all stop by and see me. And, you know, until I see you next time, I sure do appreciate you. And we'll see you soon right here on Whalen Wires, Old Iron.